just take a second and look around you. All the colors, the light, the shapes. Have you ever wondered how all that gets from out there into your head? Well, it's all part of this amazing dance between the biology of our eyes and the actual physics of light. And today, we're going to dive into the science behind our most incredible sense, our sight.
I mean, just look at this beautiful rainbow. It feels like it's just painted across the sky, doesn't it? But really think about that for a moment. How does that arc of color travel all the way from the atmosphere, get captured by your eye, and then magically turn into an image inside your brain? That is the big question we're going to explore together.
So to start, let's talk about the incredible piece of equipment that makes all of this possible. The easiest way to think about the human eye is like a super advanced living camera that's constantly capturing the world around us for our brain to process. Okay, so let's take a quick tour inside. The very first stop for a ray of light is the cornea, that clear outer layer. From there, it goes through the pupil, the black dot in the middle, which is controlled by the colorful part, the iris. After that, the lens does the heavy lifting, fine-tuning the focus of that light under the retina, which is basically a light-sensitive screen at the very back of your eye. So let's follow that path, one step at a time. First, light enters and gets bent, the science word is refracted, by the cornea. Next, the iris opens or closes the pupil to control how much light gets in, kind of like a camera's aperture. Then, the lens makes those final, tiny adjustments to focus the light perfectly onto the retina. And this is where the real magic begins. The retina is packed with special cells that turn that light into electrical signals. These signals then zip down the optic nerve straight to the brain, which does the mind-blowing final job of decoding it all into the images we actually see.
Now, for what I think is one of the eye's most amazing tricks, its ability to instantly change focus from, say, a tiny ant on your hand to a huge mountain way off in the distance. This incredible feat is all thanks to a process called accommodation.
So what even is accommodation? Well, simply put, it's your eye's lens physically changing its shape to adjust its focal length. This is what lets us have crisp, clear vision at almost any distance. It's a seamless autofocus system that, honestly, even our most advanced cameras can't quite match. And how does it work? It's all about these tiny things called ciliary muscles. When you look at something far away, these muscles relax, which lets the lens stretch out and get thinner. But the moment you look at something up close, those same muscles contract. This squeezes the lens, making it thicker and more powerful, which is what you need to focus on things right in front of you. But there's a limit to the superpower. For most young adults with healthy eyes, that limit is about 25 centimeters. It's called the near point. You can test this yourself. Try bringing your finger closer and closer to your eye. See that point where it starts to get blurry and your eyes feel a little strained? That's your lens being pushed to its absolute maximum. Of course, this super delicate system doesn't always work perfectly. When the eye has trouble focusing light exactly where it needs to go on the retina, we end up with what are called refractive defects. Let's take a look at the most common ones you've definitely heard of.
First up, we have myopia, which pretty much everyone knows as near-sightedness, and it's just what it sounds like. Someone with myopia can see things up close just fine, but objects farther away become a blurry mess.
So what's actually going on here? Well, it's a focusing mistake. The light is being focused in front of the retina instead of landing right on it. The light is falling short of its target. This usually happens because the eyeball is a little too long, or maybe the lens is just a bit too curved and bends the light too much. Luckily, the fix is really elegant. A concave lens, one that's thinner in the middle, is put in glasses or contacts. This lens spreads the light rays out just a tiny bit before they even enter the eye. That little adjustment is all it takes to push the focal point back so it lands perfectly on the retina. Problem solved.
All right, on the flip side, we have hypermetropia, or far-sightedness. And as you can guess, this is the exact opposite problem. A person can see distant objects perfectly, but they struggle to focus on things up close, like reading the text on their phone.
So here, the light from nearby objects isn't bent enough. The focal point ends up falling behind the retina. It's overshooting the target. This usually happens if the eyeball is a bit too short or the lens just isn't quite powerful enough to get the job done. And the solution? It's the opposite kind of lens, a convex lens. This one is thicker in the middle, and it gives the eye that little extra focusing boost it's missing. It helps bend the light more, bringing that focal point forward so it lands right on the retina, exactly where it belongs. Okay, so we've covered the eye's hardware, but what about the light it's actually seeing?
let's shift gears a little from biology to physics and talk about a totally fascinating property of light called dispersion. This is the real key to understanding color.
You know, when we look at light from the sun, we see it as white, or maybe kind of yellowish. But is that the whole story? What if I told you that white light is actually just a disguise for something way, way more colorful? The phenomenon that lets us in on this secret is called dispersion. It's just the scientific term for splitting white light into all the different colors it's made of. And the classic tool for doing this, made famous by Isaac Newton himself, is a simple glass prism.
When you shine white light through a prism, it fans out into this gorgeous spectrum of colors. You know them: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Or vibgyor, if you learned it that way. This happens because each color of light actually bends at a slightly different angle when it goes through the glass. Red light bends the least, and violet light bends the most, and that's what neatly separates them all out.
And this isn't just some cool experiment you do in a dark room. This same exact principle is responsible for some of the most beautiful sights in the natural world. This is the science of atmospheric optics.
And here's where it all connects. Remember that rainbow from the very beginning? Well, it's made when sunlight shines through millions of tiny little water droplets left in the air after it rains. Every single one of those raindrops acts like a perfect miniature prism, splitting the sunlight into that full, amazing spectrum of colors.
So what about the blue sky? That's caused by something a little different, but it's related. It's called scattering. It turns out that tiny particles in our atmosphere are way better at bouncing around the short, choppy wavelengths of blue light than they are at scattering the long, lazy wavelengths of red light. So that blue light gets scattered all over the place, coming at us from every direction and painting the whole sky blue. You know, reading this short poem, it really makes you pause. It's a powerful reminder of what an incredible gift sight truly is. Being able to see light and color and to tell the difference between day and night, it's something we so easily take for granted, but it literally shapes our entire reality. And that brings me to one last really powerful idea. Our eyes can actually live on after we're gone. Through corneal donation, just one person can end up restoring sight to as many as 4 other people. So when you think about everything we've just talked about, the amazing mechanics of the eye, the beautiful physics of light, it really makes you wonder, what is the true value of giving someone else the gift of seeing our colorful world?